Demon Slayer What Ifs. What if Michikatsu and Yoriichi were in the current era of Hashira and dated the Kocho sisters Part 2? Michikatsu and Kanae on date while Yoriichi and Shinobu are home alone. Michikatsu wakes up in the medical room after his mission he had with Yoriichi and Kanae and gets out of bed and goes to find Kanae. When he finally finds Kanae, she's looking at the butterflies. Michikatsu goes to her and asks if it's a bad time. She looks back and smiles at him, saying it's not, and that she's glad he's okay. Michikatsu blushes and looks at Kanae and confesses his feelings towards her, how she has made him feel better about himself since that day on the rooftop and doesn't want to see her hurt or worse what he thought would happen on that mission. Kanae blushes and confesses her feelings to him as well, and says that she's been waiting for him to ask her out, so Michikatsu asks her out on a date. Kanae agrees on the date and goes to get ready for her and Michikatsu's date. Michikatsu is happy that he's going on a date with Kanae and makes sure to dress his best for her and gets ready and waits for her. As he is waiting for her, Yoriichi goes to him and asks where he is going, and Michikatsu says he's going on a date with Kanae. While they are out, it could be a good time for Yoriichi to flirt with Shinobu. Michikatsu says Yoriichi blushes a little and says, really brother, but have fun on your date, she's a keeper for you brother. Kanae finally walks out from getting ready. Michikatsu says she looks really beautiful. Kanae blushes and says that he's dressed handsomely. They hold hands and they leave for their date. While they are walking to a place to eat, Michikatsu sees a person selling flowers and buys some for Kanae. Kanae blushes and thanks Michikatsu for buying her the flowers and that they are very beautiful. Michikatsu smiles and holds her hand tighter as they walk. While Michikatsu is on his date with Kanae, Yoriichi changes into something more comfortable and starts walking around the butterfly mansion. For a little while he walks around, he thinks about Shinobu and how he is home alone with her. He decides that he is going to ask her out today, so he goes looking for Shinobu and finds her wearing something comfortable too, and Shinobu asks where is Kanae and Michikatsu, and Yoriichi says that they are on a date and they are home alone. Shinobu blushes by Yoriichi, saying that Yoriichi decides to make his move and asks Shinobu if she wants to go walking or to do anything but spend time together. Shinobu blushes and agrees to spend time with Yoriichi. They decide to go on a walk around the butterfly mansion. While they are walking around, Shinobu gets cold. Yoriichi sees and takes off his jacket and puts it on her. Shinobu blushes and smells the jacket, and it smells like Yoriichi. She smiles big. Yoriichi even holds her tight so she can feel warm. At this point, Shinobu is blushing bad from Yoriichi holding her and doesn't want him to let go. Yoriichi sees her blushing and smiles and says that she looks cute when she is blushing. Shinobu blushes and tells Yoriichi that she likes and loves him for keeping her safe and making her feel happy. Yoriichi blushes, but kisses her forehead and says I love you too to Shinobu. They walk around more holding each other. Back with Kanae and Michikatsu, they have gotten to the restaurant and have eaten their food. They are walking around the town together. Michikatsu sees a game he can play to win a prize for Kanae. He plays the game and wins it, winning a teddy bear for Kanae. He gets hit and gifts it to her, and she smiles. She thanks Michikatsu for this amazing day she has had and how she feels happy around him and that she never wants to leave him. Michikatsu smiles and kisses her forehead and says I love you to her. She smiles and blushes and says I love you too back to him. They smile and start to head back to the butterfly mansion. When Shinobu and Yoriichi get back from going on their walk, Yoriichi sits in the living room and Kanae sits next to him and rests her head on his shoulder and hugs his arm. Yoriichi looks at her and smiles and takes out her butterfly hairpin to play with her, but blushes when he sees her with her hair down. Yoriichi goes to kiss her head, but Shinobu looks up at him and he accidentally kisses her lips. Yoriichi breaks kiss quick and apologizes that he didn't mean to. Shinobu blushes and says it's okay for him to kiss her on the lips while she is blushing. Yoriichi says if she's okay with it, he will kiss her on the lips. Shinobu says she's okay with it, and Yoriichi looks at her and kisses her on the lips. They then start to make out. Kanae and Michikatsu walk into the butterfly mansion and see Yoriichi and Shinobu kissing. Kanae says, oh, we walked in on them kissing. Shinobu quickly breaks the kiss and is blushing bad. Michikatsu has a smile of yes, my brother did it on his face. Yoriichi is also blushing bad and not looking at them. Michikatsu says that Shinobu is also wearing Yoriichi's jacket. Kanae asks if they are dating. Yoriichi says I hope I want to date her. She said she loves me. Shinobu says yes, I want to date Yoriichi and blushes bad more. Michikatsu says well then y'all are dating now, congratulations brother, I'm proud of you. Michikatsu smiles and laughs. Kanae also laughs and kisses Michikatsu's cheek. Michikata blushes. Michikatsu smiles at the kiss from Kanae and kisses her too, but on the lips really quick. Yoriichi and Shinobu smirk and say get a room you two. Michikatsu and Kanae laugh and say when they walked in they should have been the ones that got a room since they were making out not kissing. Yoriichi and Shinobu blush bad from them saying that. Michikatsu laughs and says don't be surprised if we start hearing noises from Yoriichi's room at night since they are both 18. Yoriichi and Shinobu blush bad and Kanae says no, I want to be the ones making noise at night. Michikatsu blushes bad from Kanae saying that and they all start laughing. They start laughing and making jokes for a while, then Michikatsu decides to go take a shower and to go get ready for bed. He goes to his room and takes off his shirt and turn on the shower and takes a shower and changes clothes to get ready for bed. When he lays down, Kanae walks in his room and says she can't sleep without him and that she wants to sleep with him. Michikatsu blushes and lets Kanae sleep with him, but Kanae uses his shower to shower and wears some of his clothes and lays next to him and cuddles till she falls asleep. Michikatsu kisses her on the lips and falls asleep himself. When Michikatsu wakes up, he sees Kanae by his side and spends some of his time laying next to her, cuddling her and giving her kisses before he decides to get up and to get Kanae breakfast in bed. He makes her some food and goes back to his room and sees Kanae is still asleep. He smiles and lays the food next to her and lays back next to her and cuddles her and holds her tight cause of how much he wants to hold her and not let her go. Kanae wakes up and sees the breakfast that Michikatsu made for her and looks at him. He fell back asleep, cuddling her. She kisses him and eats her breakfast that he made her. Michikatsu wakes and sees Kanae looking at him and cuddling him. He smiles and kisses her on the lips and says good morning to her. Kanae smiles back and says thank you for making her breakfast, and Michikatsu says, I wanted to do it as a thank you for stealing my heart. Kanae smiles and cuddles him. Michikatsu cuddles her back. Shinobu walks in on them and asks what they are doing. Michikatsu looks at her and says, cuddling, you should go cuddle my brother. He's probably still asleep and won't know you're there until he wakes up and sees you in his arms. Shinobu blushes and says that she will then. Part 3 coming soon of Demon Slayer. What if Michikatsu and Yoriichi were in the current era of Hashira and dated the Kocho sister? Part 3. Love almost ended and a mission gone wrong.